Mark.
All right, welcome back, and we have a very unique opportunity today to meet entrepreneur, angel investor, and the managing partner of World Bridge Partners, Mr. Dave Sanders. How you doing, Dave?
I'm doing good.
Good. Now, Dave, I appreciate you coming on the show today. I know we've taken you away from your snow skiing up in the Tahoe area.
Yep.
So appreciate you being on. And so, Dave, as an angel investor, what goes through your head when you're making an investment in an entrepreneur?
Well, probably a couple things we look at. Number one is, will we make any money on the investment? So
Yeah.
you're looking at things like who has gotten together to build the company. Is it a big enough opportunity if it was to grow and scale? And then how likely is it that you can get an exit from that business? There's a lot of companies that start and they can build and have decent cash flow, but they may never, in your lifetime, have an exit. So we make our money at the back end when ultimately somebody buys them or they go public, and most of the time somebody's acquiring them. So we're looking for those kinds of things.
And just for our, maybe give us a little education, angel investing is a kind of financing, and there's different realms of financing from just seed capital all the way to private equity. Can you give us a little education on the difference between those?
Yeah, usually when a company is getting started, the first thing they do is put money on credit cards.
Okay.
So that's probably the initial form of capitalization.
Do most people really start with credit cards?
I think a lot of people start with credit cards. Then next after that would be friends and family.
Okay.
And then following that, when you're about to get to a minimum viable product and maybe establishing some level of revenue or soon to get some revenue, at that point you can bring in seed investors.
Okay.
So angel investing is typically coming in at the seed or slightly pre-seed level. And then it goes to various rounds of funding after that. A round, B round, C round. That's kind of the economics of how it works. It's not the only form of capital, but that's the typical equity-based capital. I mean, there's different kinds of lending that goes on in between depending upon how much cash flow the company has.
And then once a company becomes more mature, they sometimes go after private equity money?
Private equity, bank loans, those times SBA loans are certainly possible alternatives. Equity investing is not, the only type of form of investing for a startup.
And in terms of being an angel investor, I've heard that it's akin to philanthropy because it's so risky. How risky is angel investing?
Very. And I should also kind of define a little bit about angel investing. So if you're, a high net worth individual who's writing their own checks and is doing that totally on your own, that would just be a single angel investor. Then sometimes angels come together and they form groups. So we have, for instance, in Sacramento Angels, and it's a group of about 40 investors that collaborate. They still make individual decisions on which ones they want to invest in, but they'll work together to look at the companies, to do diligence on companies and put term sheets together on those companies. But once again, they individually make that decision. And then I'm also involved in 2 angel funds. With Angel Fund, now you have committed capital. You bring in investors as limited partners, and then you manage that pool of capital over a 10-year period. But it's a small group making the investment decisions. So that's kind of how it goes.
Yeah. Now, how did you start the angel funds? You're in 2 funds, and you're co-founder of the funds?
Yeah. Co-founder in the funds, it's just, I kind of like the idea of spreading my risk, and it's painful writing one $25,000 check at a time and hoping that you're going to ultimately get a return on your investment. The truth is, in angel investing, if you invest in 15 companies, half will probably go to zero. And then some percentage of them, hopefully you get your money back, and a few will make the money for you. I mean, if you look at statistical returns on angel investing, assuming that you were making 12, 15 investments plus over some period of time, the internal rate of return on that, expected rate of return of that, has been averaging about 20% annualized over about a 20-year period. But that presumes that you are making reasonably well thought out decisions in the first place, have some reasonable amount of due diligence that you do, and that you don't run out of capital along the way.
What kind of due diligence do you do?
Well, it depends. So Sacramento Angels will actually, if we're in a situation where we're leading on a deal, that means you're taking the lead on the due diligence effort, but you're looking at a background of the founders of the company. Have they ever done it before? The viability of the product, what's the market acceptance of the product, the likelihood that this thing can grow and expand. Third would be, who out there potentially could buy the company, because most of the times the exits are a result of, an outside company sees this as a better way to buy it than to build it.
So your funds, you have two. What are the focus of those funds?
Across the board, anything that we think is capital efficient, and typically, once again, coming in at the seed stage. So they're just at the point of getting some revenue, and then we see hopefully explosive growth. But we also look to partner with other people that have deep pockets. So if they are successful and they hit their milestones, we're likely to be able to get follow-on capital so that we can continue and ultimately exit the business.
So yeah, with half being going out of business and the other half need to have some great growth and have a lot of success. So can you give us an idea of a successful investment?
Of what a successful investment?
Maybe
we haven't had a successful exit yet in either one of the two funds.
Okay.
But you typically in a fund, as an example, we would expect to start seeing exits 4, 5, 6 years out because there's a logical growth process. But we have one investment that we made that has a shot at having an IPO. I mean, they're positioned to do an IPO, potentially if the market's right. That could happen this year.
Can you tell us what that business is?
Yeah, company's called Phunware, Phunware, out of Austin, Texas.
Okay, and what do they do? Phunware sounds fun.
Yeah, well, it is fun. In fact,
is it clothing?
It's not that much fun. They provide infrastructure for very large enterprise companies to develop mobile applications and promote video and all that kind of stuff on a wide variety of devices. Best way to do it is just go to phunware.com and read about all the fun information they have about the company.
But if they're getting ready to go public, we'll all have a chance to invest in them at some point, I guess, if they go
the
public.
company's right now at about a $40-50 million clip.
Oh,
so
very cool.
They've been growing nicely. They've done a number of acquisitions. But once again, they've also had to raise multiple levels of capital. So when it's all said and done, we'll have to see ultimately, what the dollar we put in.
You've been diluted a little bit along the way, obviously.
Yeah,
so.
well, that's not unusual.
Yeah.
But you hope that as they bring in additional capital, that the valuation keeps going up so you don't get diluted too badly.
Why do so many startups fail?
It's hard. It's hard. I'd say the number one reason why companies fail is they focus so much on the product, they forget about the fact that somebody has to ultimately buy it, and they underestimate what the cost of customer acquisition is going to be, and they run out of capital. So that is, one reason why they fail.
The term angel investor, it makes it sound like it's something very, very positive. How do you help entrepreneurs? I mean, when you come in to make an investment, what's their attitude? Are they super appreciative, or is it more on the stressful side?
Yeah, I'll give you an example of another company that we invested in called Pocket Points. They're actually out of Chico. And we got started with them probably about a year ago is when we made an investment. They're in the process now of raising a follow-on round. And it's a pretty interesting company. Two guys out of Chico. One's 20, the other one's 21.
Wow.
They both have taken a small hiatus. They plan to go back to school, but they've taken a hiatus because the company is really taking off. They're in about 80 universities now. And what they have is an application that sits on any mobile device. They put a geofence around the university, and when you're in school, you're incented to turn your phone off. And to the extent that you do, you get points that have to be spent within 24 hours of when you collect those points. So you can go to the local pizza place, you can go, Taco Bell, buy
Because if
things.
you have your phone on during class, you're less likely to learn.
Exactly.
Pay attention. So they've created a business that incentivizes them to keep their phones off during class.
Yeah, exactly.
Only generated through a college guy, right? And now they're not going to college.
And they're in some universities now where they have over 40% penetration.
Wow.
In those universities. So it's just taken off like a rocket. So where we're able to help them is not only putting capital in, But there's a reasonable chance that one of the funds that exist here are looking seriously at putting a follow-on investment in, which would be fantastic. I recently introduced them to someone who is likely to become a board member, and he has an amazing background in the retail space and the future of where retail's going and how those two things can come together. They've already got a great relationship going with the King's organization, so pretty exciting stuff.
I can imagine that an angel investor or a venture capital firm provides guidance of some sort just so that they help, say, these 20 and 21-year-old guys probably haven't had a ton of business experience. So you guys can, put somebody on the board, but also help them with some connections.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. Bob Bozeman, who's one of the partners in my two funds, Bob is a phenomena in the angel investing. I mean, he created one of the first angel funds ever, had done hundreds of transactions in the Bay Area between mid-'90s and 2004. First money into Google, PayPal, OpenTable, just to name
Just
a
to
few.
name a couple
so he has
success
had
stories.
a little bit of investing experience, but even more so, he has run companies himself. And so he's been providing a lot of advice and counsel, and we all do. I mean, I look for ways to help those companies continue to grow. Another company called Riva Lights, you may be familiar with, and they put LED lights onto rims of bicycles and project light forward, backward, and sideways. Really cool. And
I'm going to interrupt you there as we go to a break, Dave. We're talking with Dave Sanders, angel investor right here in the Sacramento area, and we're talking about some really cool investments that he's making. But when we come back, we're going to talk about a little bit about what it's like to go pitch your investment to a guy like Dave or to other venture capital or angel investors. You're listening to Entrepreneurs Unlimited on Sports 1140 KHTK, streaming live, podcast, and YouTube at HaneyBiz.com.
Once again, here's Mark Haney.
Welcome back. We are here with Dave Sanders, entrepreneur, angel investor extraordinaire, and managing partner at WorldBridge Partners. And we've been talking about angel investing and what goes into that. And I think a lot of us think of the television show, Shark Tank. How much different is it pitching to a real angel investor than Shark Tank?
well, I think Shark Tank is exciting to watch, and there's probably some elements of reality in there. But truth is, investors don't typically listen to a pitch and write a check within minutes.
That sounds like a big difference.
Yeah, we actually had one of our portfolio companies was on Riva Lights was actually on Shark Tank, and then they signed an NDA, and we're going through due diligence on Riva Lights, and we don't know what kind of deal they actually proposed to Riva Lights until we're done with ours. As it turns out, there was money that could have been transacted from being on the TV show, but we had raised most of the money we needed anyway. So there's TV and then there's reality.
But when these guys come to pitch, I can envision. I've been to a few of these type things. You're in there's a panel of investors and there's a group of people that are listening, and you have 5 or 10 minutes to make your presentation, questions and answers. And for a business, I can picture these 20, 22-year-old kids or other people who are starting a business, don't even have revenue yet, and they've got to go present a case for why guys like you ought to invest thousands and thousands of dollars. They must be nervous.
Yeah, well, I think it takes a lot of practice. Probably the biggest frustration we have as investors when companies come to us and they present is if you go through a 5 to 6 minute presentation and you have no idea what business they're in, that can be a little bit challenging. I mean, they don't, oftentimes they take for granted what we don't know. And so being able to communicate that simply and clearly to people that may have absolutely no background whatsoever in the industry or product area that you're focused in, you just have to keep it very, very high level, and they have to get it and they have to see it being, a big opportunity. Otherwise, it's not a good investable deal.
Well, these guys are going in and making the biggest sales presentation of their life. And on the Shark Tank, it takes 5 to 10 minutes to get your check. How long does it take before Dave Sanders and some of his funds to get a deal done?
Great question. First of all, let's talk about the various sources of capital. So an individual angel who has an affinity to or some kind of a personal connection or relationship with one of the entrepreneurs, they might write a check, in weeks. If it was Sacramento Angels or a formal angel group, we're probably talking months from the time that they present and they get, we actually have a process they go through. There's a selections committee, then they present. Then we decide if we're interested, and then there's a whole due diligence process, and then you end up developing a term sheet, and then ultimately you write checks. So that could be 3-4 months.
Okay.
It will depend. We also collaborate, we call it syndicating, with other angel groups. We're actually forming a new group across 16 angel groups in Northern California. So in total, that represents literally hundreds of angel investors. And when we're in the process of that collaboration, sometimes those things can speed up. So we might have something where it's been partially vetted by another group, and then we see it. We finish, the due diligence process, and then maybe we're writing a check within a month or two.
So that syndication allows you to spread the risk a little bit more, but also that's hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars going right here into our region. What kind of impact can that make on a region?
I think a great impact. Our hope when we created our two funds, we called them the Northern California Investment Fund. But truth is, our first priority is to return a good return to our LPs, our limited partners, our investors. So, but because we're here, we have a disproportionate share of opportunities to invest in this region.
Right.
So
Your other one that we talked about was in Austin, but is most of your investing?
Most of the
Sacramento?
investing is in Northern California. There's been about 4 or 5 that have been in the greater Sacramento region, and I'd include Chico in that.
We were talking about being the best at the beginning of the show and how Sacramento might be able to be the best at something. What do you think Sacramento's future looks like?
I don't think our future's ever been brighter. I moved here in 1987, and I was working for IBM at the time. And I've always been involved in the tech sector and trying to create more energy around that and just educate people that, there's an opportunity to grow in that sector. It's not just all government opportunities here in Sacramento. But for the first time in a long time, I think we are seeing lots of things coming together, not the least of which is the Sacramento Kings staying here and having a new, stadium downtown. It has caused a lot of other activity to happen. So you're going to see, at a minimum, 2 major locations for innovation really close to where the Kings Stadium is. One is Velocity Ventures. You may have heard of that. And then
Jack Crawford's been on the
Jack
show,
Crawford's
friend of
deal. So that's, sort of a opportunity to educate and accelerate some of these companies. And then we have Brandon Weber, Urban Hive, and what he's creating is IO. He's about to announce, it's already been announced that he's going to have a downtown location, but it could be, upwards of 80,000 square feet.
Wow.
So big deal. And, that creating that center of activity right now is absolutely critical, but we're also seeing more capital coming into the region. Yeah. And it's getting so costly to do business in the Bay Area. We now have 18 to 20,000 millennials moving every year to Sacramento. So these are people that are already trained, have the right kinds of skill sets. Forget about the fact that you have to go to the Bay Area to find talent. We have a lot of talent here and a lot more coming here. We just need to get more opportunities started. I think it'll just continue to grow and build from there.
Yeah, we're starting an incubator of our own. We have several businesses in Rockland that are all in one center and trying to help entrepreneurs to build something. But I'm wondering, what does Sacramento have? If Nashville is best for country music and the Silicon Valley is best for all the high-tech stuff, what can Sacramento be the best at?
Well, we are one of the top healthcare sectors in the country right now. People don't realize that we've got 4 major healthcare providers. You have one of the, with UC Davis, you have a significant medical school there. A lot of those pieces are coming together, and I think you'll see the city has already gotten behind a med tech zone. So there are a lot of incentives right now to start and grow and build medical technology companies. And then obviously agriculture's historically been big. And that's another area of opportunity to take technology out of the university and focus,
UC
and
Davis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and bring both tech and medical together, tech and agriculture together. All those things, I think, are opportunities for us to kind of stand out from other geographies.
And that's really what it's all about, is providing these opportunities where people can chase their dreams and be the best. As we kind of close out this segment, Dave, can you share with us just what advice you would give to an entrepreneur who's thinking, man, I have a dream and I want to chase it and I want to be the best? What should I be thinking?
I think the number one thing we look for is passion. Find out, what you're good at, what really motivates and drives you. Nobody ever starts a business on their own. So figure out who you need to partner with. Maybe you're a good product guy. Maybe you're a good marketing guy. Maybe you're a good finance guy. But whatever your passion is, surround yourself with people that have been there and have done it and are willing to help. And if you reach out, you'd be amazed at what you can pull together in this town. We have a great base of resources that really want to help see Sacramento grow and lead for a change, not follow.
Dave Sanders sharing his words of wisdom, his advice, and so helpful today, Dave. When we come back, you're going to meet a man that understands branding and helps large and small businesses craft their message. You are going to meet my friend Tony Palmer, founder of the Palmer Sign Company. You're listening to Entrepreneurs Unlimited on Sports 1140 KHTK, streaming live, podcast, and YouTube at HaneyBiz.com.
Once again, here's Mark.
Welcome back. And, today's show is really interesting to talk to these guys about how to be the best and what it takes to be the best. And I'm back here with Tom Cisneros and Marcus Haney and talk about being the best. Any takeaways from today's show, guys?
I'll let you take this one.
Okay, I think that Tony Palmer said some great things surrounding, going out there and making signs, making a difference in his company, and going from back to zero and then back up again. I think that hey, I'm the best. I got a great product, so he went with it and stuck with his guns.
It makes you think about what your strengths are, right? So we all have strengths, and so. But how do you create those strengths? It starts with, don't we all kind of have a natural talent to do something? And if you focus on that one talent, or maybe just a few talents, aren't you a little bit more likely to be the world's best than if you try to be the jack of all trades?
It certainly takes a lot of focus, effort that the average person maybe isn't willing to put out. The average Joe just doesn't think about, maybe it's believing in yourself. A lot of people are afraid to take that next step. I mean, they've got a job, they make an adequate living, but they've got this brilliant idea and even the capability of doing something special, but they're kind of afraid to take that next step.
Yeah, no question. Well, in business, we've had some security camera companies that did some important things and became world class in certain areas. We did that early on in the video store area with Beta. But as we look at Sacramento in this region, we talked about biotech today and some of the medical things that are happening. But I would submit to you that entrepreneurship in and of itself, right, business startup can be something that a region could be great at in and of itself.
Absolutely.
Right? It can be an industry all by itself. And if you're a region that has a great startup program, like what we heard from today from Dave Sanders, there's different incubators, and we're doing some stuff like that down in Rockland, where we're helping startups to chase their dreams and build businesses that they wouldn't normally be able to build without a little bit of extra help. And so what I would submit to you is that maybe Sacramento and our region could get known for entrepreneurship the same way some of these other cities, the same way that Houston is known for oil, Nashville is known for country music, Silicon Valley is known for tech. Why can't Sacramento and our region be known as the greatest startup place in the world? And what will that mean 10, 20, 50, 100 years from now, as the philosophy of chasing your own dream and controlling your own destiny gets handed off to our kids and our grandchildren? Why can't that be a sustainable industry for our region?
Isn't that part of your dream, though?
That
Isn't
is.
that part of Entrepreneurs Unlimited?
It really is. And I think you got to decide what your natural talent is, what you're kind of good at. And then I think if you focus on that, and for us, it's entrepreneurship. We like starting businesses and we like building dreams. And so we're focused on that. We're laser focused on that, hoping at some point to be one of the best, maybe the world's best at some time. And really what we're doing over at the Haney Biz Hub is we're making it easy to work hard. And I think if you think about whether it's CrossFit, or your business or any business, got to find a way. If you want to focus, you've got to eliminate the distractions. You've got to not spend all your time on your weaknesses, right? Weaknesses waste time.
Yes.
Weaknesses, you'd build nothing by focusing on your weaknesses. The way to build something is to focus on your strengths. Build on those strengths. You can get other people to help you with the things that you're not good at. Make it easy to work hard. If you're not good at accounting or marketing or building things, that's fine. Maybe you're great at selling something. Focus on selling that, and then that's how you can build your dream. And don't worry so much about those things that you're not as good at. They'll take care of themselves. You're going to have to build some systems around you, get the right team around you to help with that. But focus on what you're best at. And that's how you grow a dream. That's how you build a business. And so I think if you focus on your core strength, you're going to get more profit, more growth, more opportunity. And all of that greatness, it does lead to some brand recognition. And, you kind of get known for something. So I guess that's what, as I kind of close out today, none of us can be great at everything, but it's just not in the cards. It's just not in the cards for us to be great at everything. So you got to focus on what you're good at. And so I want to help you to understand your strengths. I want to help you to understand your talents. I want to help you not have to worry about your weaknesses so much. We've got guys around Haney Biz Hub that can help with your weaknesses and, kind of shore things up. So if you're interested in coming over and talking to Marcus, me, Tom, the guys over the Haney Biz Hub, we would love to help you guys out with your business. And as entrepreneurs, I think we're positioned to do something very impactful in this community. As entrepreneurs, we have teams of people that, right? It's entrepreneurs that really have the opportunity to make huge impacts on society, huge impacts on our family, huge impacts for our friends, for our employees. And as we do that, it's good for everybody. It's certainly good for what I consider the greatest country on this planet.
Amen to that. We got some serious Coach Haney going on here.
I love it.
I'm loving it.
Hey, together we can make an impact on this great nation. Never above you, never below you.
Always by your side.
So proud.